got Fafa's package. Fafa is a new addition. I don't know if you guys can see me. I mean, okay. Fafa is a new addition whose other name is or this is Fafa's her nickname. Her name is Guanele. She just turned 30 and she turned 30 on the show with us. And she's honestly, I really hope they keep the cast. I hope they keep the cast so we can just see how even the twins may seem boring to some of you, but I think they are necessary and I can't explain it. But everybody doesn't need to be this pow, 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 but also they're firm in themselves. They stand their ground in a way that I don't find particularly just attention seeking. It's just, it happens to be their stance. And I love the twins. One of my friends was like, earlier on, was like, this twin thing. I feel like as you get older, the being the twin thing must stop. Like, the whole matchy and stuff. At some point, it must, you gotta cut that shit out. But anyway, I hope they keep the call so we can see how they navigate all of this, changing them out, and then we learn a new person. And oh my god, but Kwanele comes on, and she and Lo meet each other, and it turns out that they actually are familiar with each other. They're friendly or friends or whatever the issue is, but they don't come in by way of the same person or anything like that. And Fafa's whole thing is she's doing the classic. I think Frankie Deneve is the one who says this, like, I'm gonna spray myself with my own shit so that you don't have like leverage, right? And I believe in that as well. But I believe in owning your thing. There's a difference between I'm gonna put it out there to get ahead of it, or to get ahead of you, or to, again, take away the leverage, this thing you could possibly use against me. There's a difference between that and doing that, having worked through your demons through said thing, or the kinks or whatever it is through that thing, and being comfortable and having your game face on and having no shame around that thing. Putting something out there doesn't mean that you aren't still experiencing some shame around it. Just means you're trying to get ahead of it. And in Fafa's case, I think that's what's happening. We learn, she says to Lo, very, very rehearsed, very, oh, Lo is the person I feel safe having this conversation with. So I'm going to take this thing that was trending on social media that another person could hurt me with. And we see later on Nonko tries to do that. Nonko's such a production puppet. It's so sad. Every time she brings a story that clearly they were like, hey, you need to bring this up at the next thing, it's very inorganic because she's another terrible performer. I think Swisa just liked women who just could not like put together a convincing act, because Ayanda was terrible. Oh, you Nonku. Are you the Nonku? Bitch, you know that's that woman that had a thing with your man, girl. What do you mean? Like, girl. Anyway, she says to her, oh no, there was this rumor swirling around. Tabo and I had broken up for a while. That's her husband. And people are going around saying that I'm having a thing with somebody who was actually like a friend of ours both, like in the circle that of the people that we're friends with, and I had to move out, and this happened and that happened and stuff. One of two things happened here. One, she used, or she carried on in a fashion with that mate to make Tabo jealous, because she got, it was a, that union is one of those unions where I was seeing the somebody, you were seeing somebody, and then we were hanakaning on they back, and then now we want to have a monogamous thing together and we want to build trust, but we built our relationship off of deceit. It's one of those things where it's like, girl, you're gonna reap what you sow. Like, unfortunately, you're gonna get a taste of your own shit, and it's not gonna be nice. But luckily, it looks like you're a girl that likes to play the game as well. So, may the best hoe win. But that's what happened. Either she was flirting or carrying on in a way with that friend to get Tabo to act right or to make him jealous, or she did actually go all the way and have a thing with this guy because she felt like, Tabo's also seeing all of these other people as well, and his friend always says I'm a nice lady and I deserve better. But to save face and to save her husband's ego, she has to carry on with the story of that's not what happened. Because here's the thing that we don't talk about often enough: men stay when they get cheated on. They just have different conditions. Women are conditioned to believe that men are going to do this anyway, right? So the forgiveness chip for this kind of indiscretion is functioning quite great. Like the public humiliation, all of that stuff, women can justify ways to, you know, get away from that stuff. Men receive a different social conditioning where it's like, this is unacceptable. What are the niggas gonna think of me? And they always throw for niggas, right? So even if they love you and actually they know that they can move past this, when one too many people know, it's too embarrassing. That public humiliation and other gents looking at them like, that to them is like that ego death. They'd rather die real actual death, bitch. Okay? That's when they don't stay. When too many people know, or plausible deniability. In Gwanele's case, there seems to not be anything super concrete except for how she's addressing around it. She had a thing with that guy. It feels like that. Let me not say that allegedly. It just feels like something else is going on there. And it feels like they sat down and spoke about it and were like, yeah, but we really like, you're my hoe, you're my hoe. Like, oh my God, fuck, these are the hoes. Do you know what I'm saying? It looks like they did one of those where it's like, I know who you are. Like, I know the animal that you are, your non-monogamous nature. But I still choose you. I still want to be with you. But it's like, as a mean, you can't say that out there in the publics. That the other girl, I may not have been like dealing with her cheating on me and stuff, but I really like that girl that cheats on me. You can't explain that to people. You cannot. So now we have to run with the story where it's like, they also seem they're young though, 30, not crazy young. Not crazy young, but the relationship is of young people, and I guess they're still trying to figure things out. But I don't think reality television is a great idea for them, because having to come on here and figure these things out in front of people can't be good. Can't be good, because now we're seeing Tabo, and you know how the girls work. We're seeing Tabo, we're seeing the life that you have. We want it. And your man seems to be the type that will, you know, put his hand in this cookie jar and then another. And you should know, because you were once one of the cookie jars outside. Do you understand? You're just bringing in, you know, or providing him more avenues to possibly do what it is he was already doing to you. One also talks about how there's a child that he hasn't seen, his child with the woman he was with before, right? And that girl said, if you choose her, if you choose Fafa over me, you're not going to have access to this child. And she says that really hurts her, because she says, Habi, 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 Habi is all she says all the time. That's how I know they're not going to make it. Shit. But please, they know they're not going to make it. But, fine, they're going to make it. Sorry I said that. Anyway, she says, oh, and he hasn't seen her, he hasn't seen the child, he's missing out on all. You fucking listen here, Fafa. That tab of yours looks resourced. Okay, there's legal recourse. I said this and I never posted the short. There are legal routes he can take to get access to his child if that's what he wished. He does not want it bad enough. He wants to be with you and the kids that you already have with. That's what men do, what the fuck they want to do. He's missing out on, or he's not missing out on shit, girl. He doesn't want them. He would have stayed with that girl if that's what he wanted. So don't speak on his behalf and what he's missing out on, how you actually feel bad for him, girl. Imagine you find out that they're actually a happy family on weekends. They see each other just fine. Ah, bruh. Because niggas get married on long weekends, dog. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, That's really it. That's what we get to know about Fafa. I like her. She's confrontational enough without it having to be I'm looking for a moment as well. I like that. Nonko tries to confront her about this in a way that is trying to shame her and in front of the other ladies as well and things like that. Her husband, they have a thing. Jojo hosts the couples, the new couples over at her home and they're bragging and stuff. Tabo has a new accent in front of Calvin. Um, I guess to show him that he can hang with the Watts. I don't know, bitch. But anyway, I'm not the only one who heard it. I'm not the only one. I saw somebody else on TikTok say this because I thought, am I hearing? Okay, let me look up this episode. Or somebody else also was like, what is this? There's code switching, and then there's just I don't know what the. It's like auditioning to be the butcher's bottom bitch. I can't. That's Calvin's nickname from being a boxer or a slice the butcher. Um. Anyway, I hope his name is Calvin because I have been saying Calvin and I hope it's not Kevin. Goddamn. But anyway, Parkeman. Yeah, here's a new, and then I guess they spoke about it, him and Kwanele, that we're gonna get ahead of this thing. He says that to Calvin. Calvin's very shocked, like taken aback that I just met this oak and he's already telling me about how, oh, his ass got cheated on or whatever. However, he put it, it's like Calvin heard what I heard is that she did this, but we're saying she didn't. We're saying it was misconstrued. Like, Kevin and I heard the same thing. I'm so sorry. I will defend that white man. Like, y'all have me out there wanting to defend that white man. And he went back and told his wife, who's friends with Nonko, so she gossiped about it with Nonko that, listen, apparently this is what happened. But then Nonko then brings it out in front of the table with all the other ladies, right? In a way to try, and it's like, oh, Joe is like, I'm the one who told her this thing. But you can, and that's the thing about when we go on to now do Jojo and Nonka's package. Let's just jump right into it. Joe is finding herself being stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to how she relates to the other ladies when they are in conflict with Nonko. Angel in particular. They at one of these many getaways that they go on and stuff, and they're having a back and forth, and Nonko is not winning the back and forth, so she immediately reaches for this child that we now know is a very triggering thing for Angel. And I think it feels and sounds like nothing. It's like, oh my god, Angel's put into a 10, Angel's a little dramatic, blah blah blah. But we must account for the fact that Nonko's obsessed with reminding people about the structure of things and how she's at the top of the pack, right? But also, Angel is very young, trying to find her way. She's sitting in a group of very accomplished women in their own rights. Some have married into the lifestyles that they have, but it doesn't matter. They're comfortable, right? And she and her Shein fashions are just trying to navigate the space as best as she possibly can. And constantly trying to remind her that she's a child undermines any contribution that she might have. It would trigger, it would bring out a lot more. And it's also like in a way to dismiss any value or any opinion she may bring to the table. Mind you, they're getting along the whole season. But Nonko didn't ever come back and she's like, she really hates this last year. It made her come undone. But Angel seems to be going through some stuff. It turns out her mother's in well. She actually missed out on an event or something because her mom had a surgery or something. But Angel is very different and tempered this season. And I think it's just from watching herself back from her first season on, but also from whatever else she has going on. She simply cannot do the stuff that she was doing last season of everything is a fight and I'm going to take it there, right? She's doing like less lying, very like little to no lying, which is great. But that's also because she's just simply not doing a lot. And that's the thing about second seasons. Everybody's trying to correct everything they got wrong the first season. Sometimes we need you to be that, person from first season. We need a little bit of that back. Not the lies though. Not the lies, please no. Um but she says this child and they now get into a back and forth and it's a whole thing. And now Barkimang, Jojo is now bonding with Angel, so she's in a spot where she's like, I can't say shit. I can't rip him my nonko in front of everybody. I can't. She's clearly wrong for saying this thing that we all know is a trigger for Angel. I just have to sit here. And this now, I always thought their relationship was gonna fall out earlier on. I did not count on their shared trauma, not shared necessarily, but similar. What a bonding exercise that would be for them. Um, the arrested development of it all to also be a point where they would love on each other the way that they do, or but it's such an insecure friendship. Like, as somebody who's like kept friends for years and years and the relationships are healthy in that there's plenty of disagreement in those relationships, lots of uncomfortable uncomfortable conversations to have to work through those kinks, coming out of that situation having a better understanding of the woman this girl is now. Like, we're not 13 anymore. These are her views on this other thing, and these are my views, and we're navigating similar situations in vastly different ways. All of that stuff, you know? But I'm never afraid. I'm never afraid of going there with my friends because I don't exist in the fear, sort of like a crippling anxiety that I might lose them if we disagree here. And Jojo, mostly Jojo, looks like she's operating from that point of view when it comes to Nonko, and she pretty much admits that. She cries later on after that interaction when she has a conversation with Angel the next day. And she's like, I get stuck between, I don't know what to do in that moment because I adore you and stuff, but I feel like I can't say anything to Nonko about this and that because I've had a history of being rejected and feeling like I'm easily disposed of, and all of that stuff. And I just now have this fear that if I don't have this blind loyalty, um in friendship, I will be discarded off like that. And she uses Annie as an example, which is why I was like, ah, see, it's like she's almost there, but not really. She has an understanding of why it is she's operating with that blind loyalty, but she still doesn't. Annie and did shit to you, Miss Ma'am. You hurt that girl deeply. You cut that girl. You know? I remember watching that and being like, that hoe was riding for you, bitch. And if she's still here and not seeing it like that, we've got a problem. She's got a problem, but at least she's now recognized. But like, I don't want to speak too soon because it's like she realizes she's stuck in this pattern of this blind loyalty to Nonko, and Nonko knows it. So it functions as permission, like it permits her to poke at other people, to do other stuff, because she has this false sense of security of, oh, I know I got one bitch here that'll always have my back. I can start on you because no matter what's gonna happen, she's gonna have my back. I can poke it and do it because no matter, she's going to, I will not be alone in my madness. And then it becomes this vicious cycle of enabling each other's bad behavior. No, when Jojo was towering people in previous seasons and throwing glasses with liquid in them, or liquids that were in a glass at people, she was being the enabler. Nonko was enabling this behavior. Now here we are, and Joe is realizing that I'm gonna find in a situation where I'm burning bridges with women who haven't done shit to me, but be nice to me. Women who've tried to just build a relationship with me and get to know me. I'm gonna be in a situation where I'm burning bridges hard. And what happens the day they reconcile with Nongo over whatever disagreement it was, and I'm left out in the cold because I just had to have my friends back so hard. There's a way to have your friends back, and I believe that sitting it out is one way, and then addressing them in private, especially when they are slow like Nonko. It's the best way to do it that way. You can't in real time say, friend, 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 you're doing that thing, let's not do. You can't do that, right? Because she also has that fear of being abandoned and being discarded of. It will hurt her in that moment. Like she will literally go back to feeling like a used tissue. I don't know, because who the fuck keeps that? Nobody, okay? A used Kleenex goes in the fucking bin. So she's going to feel that way. So it's very tricky how you navigate that thing. At the same time, never calling them out in public spaces where they wreak the most havoc also enables them to continue in that pattern. It's like so tricky. It's so tricky. I don't know what she's gonna do because I just wouldn't befriend a dumb bitch like this. That would be my first move. Or once I realize that I've done this, I'll just back away ever so slightly. Yeah, yeah. I make it a point to not be friends with slow women. Or I'll excuse myself. Like I leave violent situations. Like I just leave. You can say, oh my God, like especially as a grown woman, we're not fucking children. You don't need to solve problems that way. It looks like it's gonna be an issue moving forward as well because she cries about it. This is at the dinner that Londi showed up at, right? She cries about it, and Londi's all like, "Look, Nonko, you made your friend cry now." I was like, Production was like, "This footage. Listen, we Precious is gone. That was boring as well. The back and forth with Precious, and it was getting very like repetitive, and with Precious and Mini." We can't keep talking about the ugly yellow outfit that she wore, the teething. What are we gonna do here? We need a season. They brought in the big guns, bitch. Landy landed, bitch. Okay, okay. But anyway, look what you made your friend cry. But she did, guys. I think that's why it was funny because Joe was crying because Nonko had her in a fucking pickle. Fucking, I just couldn't. And then in true abusive pattern, because you learn this stuff, it's like a reactive abuse of sorts. Nonko then goes on to give Jojo the silent treatment for the next 2 days, which is what an abuser will do. Silent treatment is abusive. I don't know if you know that. If it's that's behavior you participate in, I have a very good friend in my life who like worked on breaking that pattern, and I'm forever proud of her. Like I think she knows this though, that I'm always proud of every little thing that she does, and I feel like it's always the biggest thing that's ever happened. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, it takes a lot to break your pattern, and she realized, and she called it out for what it was. I think a therapist let her know that when you deprive, it's almost like withholding affection of sorts. It's like if we get into it, and instead of resolving it or telling me, "Hey, I'm processing this thing," forever. Like I'm not going to stay silent forever. I just need time alone with my thoughts to work through this thing, and then I'm gonna come back to the table and we're gonna resolve it. I just need to spend time with it. You don't just go quiet and silent. That's shit that nogs do. So that now you're in your head as the person who's had something done to them, or the person who's experiencing because Nonko didn't explicitly do something to Jojo, but what she did around the room left Jojo having to feel away and process things, right? And she's now silent as if something was done to her. It leaves you as the person who, like the victim of whatever that situation is. You are now running after that person, trying to get their attention, vying for their affection back, wanting them to give you any little thing, and relinquishing your power and relinquishing any like avenue to come back to the table and have a talk about what it is that happened, what your feelings are, how you can work through them. That's what that does. When you are in, especially the ladies who are in these relationships with these guys, like moody and moping, I'm just gonna be quiet, like I do, Lidisha, like type thing. I've experienced that, and I had to shut that shit down. But the thing about those things as well is that you need to be prepared for whatever. And I feel like if you're afraid to lose the person, that's what makes it harder. to confront the situation for what it is. That's why you end up being the one begging for the, like, we have Joe the next day crying, ringing Nonko. Nonko's not picking up. She goes to a door. She rings her while standing outside her door. And Nonko just look. That's that shit she probably picked up from Muscara and them. You know, them type of dudes that she be dating and stuff like that. Where they do shit to you and go quiet and stuff. I've experienced that shit. And like, because I'm not afraid of losing people in my life, I stick to my shit. Cause I'd be like, I would rather you go because I can't do whatever this is. If you staying means that I need to walk on eggshells now and I need to have blind loyalty and I need to do this, you're not worth keeping. Like how I'm set up, I can't handle that, having to like bow down and ignore my truths and not have a stance. I'm too the way I am. So it's like, if it means you're gonna have to like leave my life or I'm gonna lose you, I'll get over it. Or I'll learn to live with it. It's like things are hard, you guys. Like, I don't know how to explain this. When we talk about let them go, do this, do that, nobody's saying do it because it's easy. Nobody's saying it's not going to be hard or you won't experience heartache or it won't hurt. But for me, it would hurt more to keep you in my space while compromising myself. That feels like a death of self. I would have to grieve pieces of me, values, things about me to keep you in my life. Nobody's worth that shit to me. Nobody. Then I don't have you. Because the version of you I want is a person who respects me and wants to work through things. Then I don't have you. I have little pieces of you that make me feel shit about myself. Why do I want to keep that? You aren't, like, there's no promise that was ever made to you that you're going to go without heartache. Letting go of a friend, you don't do that because it's easy. It's not something, it's not, you're not having a good time. You're justified in your hurt. You're very, very, losing a friend is heartbreaking. Heart wrenching. It is so, it's such a breakup. It's such a terrible thing. But there's no such thing as in like you don't learn to live with something or you don't get over it. But avoiding it altogether, at what expense? Like, what is the cost of it? But anyway, as you were, who else? Launching. How can London, wanna get down now? We going down, ba 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 da, ba. And now I gotta go listen to Fergie's London Bridge because Miss London, baby, was in the building. Gorgeous girl, gorgeous, gorgeous. Fumble sometimes that one. Up then, yes, her choice of niggas is just like yo. Mararit, Londi comes to us when they are in Joburg at that retreat thing. Sorisha invites her over. By the way, uh, that trip was Angel's and Kwanele's trip, Fafa's trip, and they were late hosting one dinner, so Sorisha took over, and then they're like, "Oh, it's not her trip. Why did she? I'm sorry. Give back your perfume, then, bitch. First of all, it was her trip. That's how she got the room, bitch. How do you think that happened? Anyway, baby, in this episode, Sorisha said I'm production, and I don't think they heard her. Did she say it? Did she say it to them or in the confessionals? Because they were like, "Why is Londi here?" And I think Sorisha, it was it to them, or she's like something like, if I decide she's gonna be here, then she's gonna be here. I said, baby, she said, my man can buy me Londi, baby. She, ah, guys, hey, Sorisha, guys, Sorisha's rich, guys, no. But anyway, Londi lands. She looks gorgeous. They at this thing and this dinner thing and stuff, and we're doing Mini and Londi now. Um, Mini has another problem with Londi. and she found things to make it about, but it's not that. She had dealings with Londi that Londi doesn't remember or Londi's not aware of. Everybody else is suspecting that Londi explicitly said it, not even alluded to it, has said it. Somebody else has also said, Hanu, what's going on, Apa? Like, or Londi being the baddie that she is, or Ratile Chomi the scones. The cons. Yo, the way I'm obsessed with scones, guys. Yo, I should show you guys my scone. It's so cute. I mean, scones the other day, and there's still some left over. I just walk past the kitchen and look at them, I'm like, they're so pretty. I'm so like so pretty. But anyway, you see now. Oratile chomedi cons. Would like Londi did something to somebody Mini loves, or Londi did something to Mini, and Mini's making it about everything else, and or Mini just felt like she was carrying the season and she was the star of the season or a breakout star of sorts, and Londi coming back is stealing her thunder. Something is happening. But part of it also has to do with I want to be the only baddie here, or I don't know what the issue is, but she has an issue with Londi and she's making it something else. Londi says about the dress. She's wearing this dress at this dinner. She's such a petite lady, Mini. And often I feel like the hitting and missing of the fashions boils down to trends wearing her versus garments being designed with her frame in mind. And I don't know how else to say that. Some of the garments that she's wearing are just too much garment for such a tiny woman. They just are. The thing that she's wearing at this thing has these, like, it goes up like that. And Londi makes fun of it or says, oh my god, it looks like these wings. And one of them actually knocks a glass over and stuff. And she's decided that that is the thing she's going to hold on to have beef with Londi. That's what I'm telling you, that can't be it. She also goes on to blame Londi for the shift that happened at the dinner. This is the dinner where Joe is crying, where Angel is crying because Nonko called her a child and stuff, and it just all gets to be too much. When they have another meetup later on and Londi's not present for that thing, she's like, no, but Sorisha, why did you bring her? You brought her and she brought all the drama. First of all Londi did was addressed her issues with Joe just straight on. As in, Joe, you unfollowed me. I thought we were cool. What happened? Joe then says to her, no, apparently in Jamaica, I remember that the All Stars thing, you called me a devil or a demon or something. And she's like, I never did that. But again, the blind loyalty to Nonko, she couldn't even like reach out to Londi herself and be like, yo, babe, like I thought we were cool. Why'd you call me this? She just did us. Was like, no, my best friend says you call me this and that's what it is, and I'm just gonna shut you down. But your friend like mishears and makes things up and does things. You know this about her. But you can't even be true to that because you're too busy trying to make sure you're being a loyal ass bitch. They kind of deserve each other. So I don't really feel bad for any of them in terms of like Joe crying. I'm like, Joe's always crying. Okay, whatever, bitch. But that's all Londi did. Londi did that. Then she said something about it's okay for Mini to be, but Mini was already stank. Mini walked in, saw Londi was present and was stank before she sat, before anything was said about her dress. So to make it about the dress for me is like, Shab, somebody said that they try to make you the butt of the joke. I'd be mad. I'm not going to take that away from Mini. I'd be mad. But girl, what's really going on? What is really going on? And your thing did knock over the glass. Because it's not a dinner outfit. It is not. And I'm going to get to talking about the fashions just now. And it does not stop, right? She heads back. And then they're like, oh, so are you back in the group or something? And Londi's like, no, you guys went but my nonko's like, you're not even part of this group anymore when they're doing their back and forth and stuff. And Londy's like, I decided not to be part of the group. As in, bitch, I didn't get fired. I could have been back for another season and another if I wanted to, because I'm bankable, ho. Okay? And if I decide that I want to come back, you'll see me back. And sure enough, she's back in the Tagwini, bitch. They're back down there, and I guess they were like, oh, we need her. She's gonna get us through the rest of the season. Otherwise, and I'm glad they did that, because otherwise we were back to talking about the same drama. Oh, we're gonna be so bored. Um, she links up with Soso and Lo, and Soso lets her know that, listen, we linked up with everybody after, and they said it was a problem that I invited you, and it was a problem that I invited you because you're the one that stirred the pot. Mini felt that way. Nini keeps trying to make like everybody else also really felt that way, but it's like, let me go around the room. Nonko called Angel a child. They got into a tiff. Where's Londi there? Like, the tension at the table was existing before Londi joined anybody there. So how is it Londi's fault that everybody ended up crying and there was commotion? You're already not getting along. Nonko just the night before was trying to steal Sorisha's room. Where was Londi? Where was Londi? So then they invite her to another thing. We see Lo move into her new house. There's something really interesting happening, and I don't have enough thoughts around it. People aren't bothered by big women, especially in the spaces that we come from, like in black spaces. The obsession is just with you having a flat tummy. It's like, sure, be fat, but have this unrealistic thing as well, where the fat doesn't deposit on your tummy, it deposits everywhere else. You can have these huge thighs and huge arms, and you're like, you know, it's not really about your health, but we can pretend it is, because we have several women on this cast who've had lipo and they have arms as big as mine. And honestly, it leads them into spaces where they wear things that make them look like they've been stuffed into like a casing, like a sausage casing. Because this part of your body fits somewhere, you now think you can also do other things that the skinnies are doing, and it doesn't work. Because it was never about our health, it was always about the aesthetic. And it's like, if you can have an hourglass figure, no matter how big you are, it's okay. Because it's never about your health. Nobody gives a shit about your cholesterol. You just need to have a small waist. And you guys trying to say anything about is crazy. Crazy. Lois moved into a new house, and Fafa and Londi link up with her at her new home to see the property. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous property. Looks really nice. You know, good on them. However, they got. Do they work other jobs outside of being like pastors? Just wondering, since La Taida and shit, bitch. Taida. Taida, anyway, they link up with her, and then Lo then invites her to a gathering they're having the next day, which is a thing Angel is putting together for them in Umlazi. She picks them up in a taxi, and it's a whole like romanticizing of public transportation, because these are wealthy women who never have a reason to be in a quantum, but they're in one, and it's like a little excursion. Oh my god, poverty, it's so exciting for them and stuff. We need to come back and talk about also. Um, and they go and have the lunch thing that they're having at this, I guess, a popular Shisanama type of spot in Umlazi and stuff. And Lo rocks up, and she rocks up with Londi, and there's a get a fabulous theme. The interpretation is very Black American, which I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, Black American culture was packaged as pop culture and commodified essentially and exported all across the world. And I guess that's why we would identify with it as that. As that's the theme. Everybody look cute or whatever. And then Londi shows up, and then she Lo and Nonko sit aside because they had a big blowout, and it was whatever. I don't care about their interactions anymore. Londi shows up, and she's like, apparently you got, because she, that's what I love about her, how confrontational she is. I love that. I love it. Like, why must I skirt around and just no, 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 no. I heard you in particular had an issue with me showing up. And Minnie lacks a confidence about her around Londi, guys. And I know she lacks a confidence around her about her around Minnie, around Londi, because because she's right. That's how I also know she's right with Precious. She didn't need to make herself plural. But when she's dealing with Nonko, she's with Londi. She's obsessed with saying we. It's not we, bitch. It's you. It's just you. You're taking issue with her being here. Maybe a little bit Nonko, but mostly you. You're taking issue with her being here. Just own it. But you can't because it's not rooted in anything real. Or it is, and you would have to tell us what that thing is. Right? Because it's one of two things. It's either I am right, which really is breaking down to I'm jealous, I don't want to share space with her. I feel like she'll like shine like too bright and overshadow me. And because she's not just a pretty, right? It's not even just an issue of, oh my God, they're jealous of her because she's pretty. She's got a personality. She's a force. She's an energy about her, which we don't always see with pretty girls, right? Or we don't expect of. I mean, look how bland Faith Nkitsi is. She's not that. She's a commanding thing about her. So it's like Minnie being this personality as well, where she has a commanding thing about her. There's an insecurity there. There's a lack of confidence when another strong personality who happens to also look the way Londi does has to exist in the same frame as her. She feels like she can't compete. It's reading as that. It really is. I really wish I was. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know, but I can't because I liked Minnie, and I just think this is a weak bitch move shit that she's doing. I don't get. All she has to tell us who Londi fucked, and she's still mad. Truly, because we know it's always about a man, girl. We know that. Or she snapped you at some event. Thought she was too good for you, which would have been fucked up. You'd be just in your dislike. Lo goes to the loo as the confrontation is happening and she goes after her. And she's like, no, if we're supposed to be friends, because remember, she hosted Lo's thing. I don't think her and Lo are friends or whatever level of friendship they have. Lo has more loyalty to Londi. Londi and Lo were neighbors when thing I lived in Durban. When Londi still lived in Durban. They seem to have a stronger bond, or at least Lo feels like being aligned with Londi just works out a lot better than being aligned with Minnie. Or she just does not seem as close to Minnie. I'm sorry. That said, she has some kind of relationship with Minnie. She could have given her a heads up. But she does not care about her. Lo does not care about Minnie at all. Minnie goes to the bathroom to confront her. Hey, why would you bring her here after the last time we spoke about you doing this and doing that and blah blah blah. And then Angel also goes to the bathroom to add to this confrontation as well. And Lo's feeling ganged up on, and she's just like, no, Mgani, what the? She's saying Mgani too much, meaning she knows, like, it's trying to disarm Thingaki, Minnie. It's trying to say, no, I still love you. We're still friends, even though I set you up. Even though essentially this is an ambush. I had the option to warn you that I'm coming with this person, but I chose not to because I was fine with you being ambushed because that's how I feel about you. It's not that real to me. But Joe and Thing I actually had a pottery date. Londi, and Londi was like, I feel like you're a puppet and stuff. Watch Joe not be mad. Like, Joe was very calm talking to Londi about this. No, I'm not a puppet. What do you mean by that? And then she then goes on to explain what her thoughts are around calling her that. She's very calmly working through that. But she goes home to tell Calvin about Sorisha calling her a backup dancer 2 trips back, as if it just happened. And, because she has a bone to pick with Soso and it's not going to go away. But here she was explicitly called a puppet, and she gave the person room to explain what they mean by that and where they're coming from. And she calmly explained her way around that situation. It's not going to be the same with Soso because she's got a hard on for one for Soso. I don't know what's going on there. Like I don't know if it's because she wanted to be Annie in Soso's life, or Slee, and be like her bestie like that, and it didn't go like that. And I don't know. I don't know. But what, like, she's literally in the 10th episode talking to her husband in the car, like, Saoirse called me a backup dancer. Girl, Laundry called you a puppet. A puppet. You're being puppeteered by the another dummy. She said that. Anyway, did I forget anybody's beefs? No, I didn't. What? Oh, Sorisha. Sorisha is very uncomfortable with the Precious and Mini thing because Sorisha is an Indian woman with a wealthy husband, and they're no innocent billionaires. They're no innocent wealthy people, none whatsoever. She's having this session with Mini, where she talks about how, I wouldn't allow you guys to talk to me about my business. At every turn, she's trying to shut this down because she's trying to close any avenue for there to ever be a conversation about her and how she handles her staff. She doesn't want there to be precedent, a little paved brick road to possibly one day doing it to her. She it's coming from, and Mini rightfully calls her out and says, Sarisha, last night, because Sorisha was like, there's salons everywhere. If they were that upset about what Precious is doing to them, then that's an issue for the CCMA, or they could go find other employment somewhere. Mini calls her out and says that's such a privileged take, because even Sorisha knows it doesn't work like that. There's a reason they are like lobbying groups and all manner of things for workers' rights, because they deal with employers that treat them any which type of way. But it spoke to an understanding between employers in her mind, in Sosa's mind, that, what, sometimes you gotta get mean and ugly. It spoke to that understanding to say Precious must have had cause for treating her staff how Mini's alleging she treats her staff. If you've doubt, and I know we like to like Rainbow Nation and talk around it, and sometimes when I'm talking Real Housewives, it's like, oh my god, I wish you wouldn't talk about like race dynamics and blah blah blah. This is just fun. This is whatever. I'm never gonna be a person to shy away from dealing with things when we're existing in such a racialized society. I'm never gonna be that person. Having dealt with Indian people in business, I know how black people are often treated when they work under them. Much like their colors, they bought into that structure, that class structure we had, and racialized structure we had, as to who's more deserving the closer you are to whiteness, right? And we see it especially in Indian culture. It shows up in any society that is that plagued by colorism. I don't know if you guys have watched Indian matchmaking and stuff, and the obsession with somebody being fair skinned. When you look at just like how India is still structured, how you have the darkest of their society, because they also come in all shades and sizes and stuff. How you have still working like on the lower um kind of careers, the back breaking stuff, the manual labors and stuff, the ones who come in and perform all the domestic duty, all of that stuff is still very much associated with a darker colored Indian, hence why we have a bleached Sorisha here today. When you're coming from a society that is rooted in that much anti-blackness. You're not going to convince me that you look at your employees and actually see them as full employees, and you're still able to like amass the kind of wealth that you've amassed if you are really having everybody who works for you and under you being paid at a livable wage. You're not about to convince me of that shit. Okay? I know how capitalism works. I know how like anti-blackness also works. Sorisha needed to date this conversation so that it doesn't have legs to grow and possibly walk over to her and point a finger at her. That's why the fuck Sorisha was all about that. Everybody let pressures go. I'd never let in. And she says to me, the other day I was really talking to my staff like this. And I'm not saying there aren't days where you need to really be firm and stern and reprimand your people and stuff. But Sorisha did bleach, you guys. Sorisha has things she needs to work through that she's still not fully really talking about. And I'm not alleging. Let me tell you something that's happened to me very recently. Um, for as long as I've been like doing my little business, because I work from home, right? The main supply shop that I was buying from in town was owned by an Indian lady, and I went to school with her kids. And I'd buy my supplies there and things like that. Last year, I was like, I need to. People keep saying I'm far, right? And I'm trying to find a drop off point in town so that I can meet people halfway, and then they can pay the whatever I can charge them per item. I'd make up the drop off point rent because I don't need. I literally need a little space to put a fridge, essentially. And then they would just like pick up the stuff there, and I would have handed all the payments and stuff, and I'd give the drop off point a fraction of whatever their rent is per month there. And I remember reaching out to this lady asking her, hey, could we work out like me having a drop off point here by your place, blah, blah, blah. And this woman wanted to charge me the equivalent, if not the same, of rent, like the rental, the amount that I know people pay to rent space in town. Like if you're renting a big room and you want to do a nail salon, a lash, whatever, she wanted to charge me that to put a little fridge in the corner. And I literally have not been back at her shop. I went back twice when I was desperate because I couldn't find the item and any of the. I was like, I'm never spending money with this woman a day in my fucking life. Because when it's us, when it's time for them to do business with us, we're good enough to come and bring them money. They never want to go into business with us unless they stand to really benefit. Then they don't have time to be wanting to laugh with us. They need to be getting like the upper hand in everything that they do, but they know how to collaborate with each other because they see each other as equals. You are somebody who's good to bring money to them. And I was like, oh, the only like I am at I spend well over 1,000 in this shop on a weekly. I'm sure of this. I am so sure of this. And this person is saying they don't want to figure something out with me so that I can increase my sales and continue to shop here. And when she saw that I was like, I'm backing away, then she tried to come back, tried to send somebody because now she's realizing I'm no longer bringing money into her store. I don't shop there. That's the only language they understand when you stop giving them rands. So it's hard for me having the fine. These are just my little experiences in a corner here. You can pretend that all you want. It's hard for me to see how they treat the black people who work for them. It's hard for me to not feel like Sorisha wanted this dead and gone because perhaps there's some things in her own businesses where people may come out later and say, she's actually like this and she's actually like this to us. But y'all know I go down for so. I do. Mwah. Bye, Yella. Here are some random things that also happen on the show that I don't care about. Nonko wrote a book. So it's just said the spacing is crazy. And it probably is. My mic is dying. They showed the pages, guys. This basic, but Bonang survived that book scandal, so that's fine. So Nanko, with a memoir, my mic is gonna go off. With a memoir coming out, from oh my god, Miss Nonko. But that's it. That's another thing that I forgot that happened in the season. Yeah.